Hey guys, what's up? This is the Metaphysical Babes. Welcome to my channel if you're new here. My name is Kathy, and today I want to talk about the metaphysical aspect of life. In reality, this is truly what we are, spirits having this human experience here on earth. And everything about life, or the reality as you know it, is rather a spiritual aspect more than it is a physical aspect, because this plane of existence is denser, so you could see matter, but you cannot really see what forms matter, the atoms, the electrons, and so on, right? So your eyes are, the retina is hit by the photons, and then it's giving this information to your brain, and you are experiencing the forms, around you. But all of those forms, they're beyond that which you see. There's a spiritual aspect to them, the metaphysical aspect behind them. And, and those forms that we see here, they're created by nothing but our thought forms. Literally, our brains form them. It's just a projection of our mind, okay? And in order for us to be grounded here, we needed that. But when you start looking into the different dimensions, fourth dimension and fifth dimension and sixth dimension and even higher, there's no form. You are formless. Oui, Noah, je suis là. Okay. So you are formless. That's why when you have a dream, you can't really, when you try to run in your dream, you can't really, you feel this heaviness, right? Because you're thinking in the 3D dimensional, aspect while you are in the dream. You think you can run and you cannot run. Then you're like heavy, right? But if you decide to fly, then you can fly in a dream. Because at that point, you're not solid anymore. You are formless. And that's the realm that is pretty much the actual realm of us. But we're very caught up in this physical world, so we think that everything happens here first. No, it happens in the formless realm. This is where God said, let there be light. He started with the formless. He says earth was formless and everything like that. If you know the Bible, if you know your Bible story, then you know what I'm talking about. I'm paraphrasing here, but before he created everything was formless, right? So this is where it started. Creation started in the formless and then became solid. So that's why when you're thinking about what you want, it happens in the formless, it happens in the void, it happens in the dark. You bring light to it when you bring your emotions, your thought form to it, your thinking to it. That's when you give it, a shape. You give it creation. It's like it's creation that is happening. Creation happens in the formless, in the void, right? So I want you to think about this here for a second. There's nothing that you're experiencing in this reality that was... Oui, mon amour. Ouais, donne-moi une minute, ok? Je fais une vidéo, ensuite on se parle, ok? Oui, après. D'accord. So, think about this here. Think about this for a second here. So, you are here experiencing this reality, but there's something that you want to experience, something else, something different. What do, right? Neville Goddard talked about it. He says it's imagination. You go into your imagination, you think about what you want to see in the real. Now, the key here to us human, we are beings that are intellectual, with emotions, with feelings, with instinct, with intuition. Because if we were to just say that we're simple, we're simply beings, then we can compare ourselves to animals. We are beyond them, right? We're above them. And this is why even in the Bible it says that we have dominion over everything. And the emotions, the feelings, and the mind and the intuition is what gives us this resemblance to God. God uses love to create. So if there's something that you want, all you have to do really is to go into your imagination, is to go into the void, is to go into the formless and start painting it, literally painting it in your mind. So when you paint it in your mind, then your feelings and your emotions and your intuition and everything that makes you human, okay, will allow you to bring it into this realm here. It becomes solid. You take the formless, you give it form, you give it shape. Okay, this conception of Eve being created out of the rib of Adam, or let's say that the creation of Adam actually was that God used mud and created, like clay, right, to create Adam. So it is a way to explain to you that he was formless, and then he decided to think of a shape and gave him a shape, and then there he was born. Out of the side of Adam, Eve was created as well. It's the same thing, the same concept. So for everything material is what I'm talking about here. It is to take the formless and to bring it here and give it form. Money is the same thing. So everything is an energetic pull. So your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, your mind, your intuition, whatever you want to call this that makes us human, if you compare yourself to an animal, you know how they... Attention, Noah! You know how they act, and then you know how we act, right? They act based on instinct. So when they're hunting, they have this instinct to know where to go, and they go after their prey, right? Whereas for us, we can also use instinct, but there's something even greater than that we have, is that we can also bring it to us instead of hunting for it, right? And that is the difference too, that makes us, that give us this dominion over this physical realm here, is the fact that we can bring things to us from the formless to the solid, three-dimensional realm here. So I think that if there's anything that you want, and I've been experimenting with this, I knew of it, but I never really fully grasped the whole concept of it until I changed the conception of me. I changed my conception by literally taking on the characteristics of the creator. If I'm made in the image of the creator, why should I feel a certain way about adopting the characteristics of the creator? Now, listen, you can decide to also embody, characteristics of other gods or goddesses, or, whatever you feel comfortable with, so that you can build your self-concept, right? The conception of who you are, who you think you are, who you are aware of being, so that you can create within your own right. Okay. An architect who studies architecture and takes on or embodies the characteristics of an architect will start from the formless and create what he wants and bring it into this, the 3D reality. So you can think of yourself as such, right? And say, okay, what is it that I don't want to create? You say, okay, I want a house, and then I'm going to design it and everything like that, which you could do. You don't have to go the step-by-step, to do the step-by-step process that which an architect does. But you can imagine what you want and then, come across it, right? Either somebody takes you to that house, or you end up buying that very house that you were dreaming of, and so on, or some things will happen and fall into place for you where that thing will become real. When I say real, I mean solid, because this is what makes something real for us here living on this 3D plane. Excuse me. It needs to be solid here. It needs to be matter. Also, this makes me think of something that, with Albert Einstein, right? There's something that I find to be very interesting for us, how he talks about light, that travels, light or sound, which one travels faster, right? The more I think about this, I think our thoughts travel faster than light or sound, really. Mathematically, you cannot measure thought. And if we were able to do that, right? Because they cannot measure consciousness, they cannot measure thoughts and so on, right? No machine can do that. But what I'm realizing is that our thought could be double the speed of light, double the speed of sound. This is how powerful we are. And I want you to think about that. When you think of something, and the more you spend emotion and feelings on it, the faster it realizes, the faster it comes, right? So this is how powerful we are, and this is what they don't really teach us. Certain cultures, they do teach, but very limited. And then once you become better at it, you don't even have to put too much emotions or feelings into it. All you have to do is think about something and then it appears, right? It comes into your reality like that. It's like magic, right? And then you can go even higher when you start learning how to manipulate energy. And I say manipulate not in a negative way. It's just like when you master that and you know how you can use them in order to actually bring something into the physical realm faster. They have these type of people that know how to do that, right? And different cultures, have a different process of how to do that. And I just want you to think about that. It's like, I hope that you followed me here. It's important for you to understand how valuable your mind is. Right here, when you put your thought, or you bring your awareness right here, and you bring, or let's say something that you want, you bring it right here to your third eye. You bring that focus there, that thing, you bring it right there. And this is where the magic happens, really. From the formless to the solid, right? And I hope this is making sense so that you can start understanding how important it is to structure your mind. Structure it in a way that you make your self-concept as if you were a creator, because you are made in the image of the creator. Therefore, you are in your own right a creator. You are a creator that makes things happen in this three-dimensional reality, from other realms to this realm. I guarantee you there's not one thing. Okay, they talk about parallel universes, right? A parallel universe. Imagine there's a parallel universe where everything that you want exists. Use your mirror to think of that parallel universe. This is a technique just to help you embody that. Use your mirror, and the reflection in the mirror is your parallel universe, and he or she has everything. Now you're going to do an exchange. You're going to have a relationship with that image. You're going to say, okay, we're creators here. On one side you have everything, on this side not yet. Let's do an exchange. And then you start seeing yourself, that reflection, connecting, becoming, merging and becoming one with that reflection. I don't know if that makes sense, but I hope you got it. And I've played with that a couple of times where I would imagine the reflection in the mirror giving me something that I wanted. I'm looking at myself and I'm literally like, as I'm looking and I'm picturing that Kati is giving me what I wanted. And guys, it's a beautiful experiment. Just, it could be anything simple, like an apple, or I don't know, like a piece of jewelry, or somebody calling you that you needed to call you, like a special person, an SB, whatever, right? Or like, let's say $100, and I guarantee you it's gonna come like that. And I've been experimenting with that. It's beautiful. It's powerful too. So just think of yourself as a creator that can make anything happen here in this three-dimensional plane. There's nothing that you see that is solid here that you cannot have. Absolutely nothing. It's nothing. A car. Here's one thing I started saying to myself. What is a car that a creator could not give me? What is a car? Because you give it so much importance, you make it more important than you, then it becomes more important than you. When you make yourself more important than the car, you own the car. The car does not own you. When you make a house more important than you, then the house owns you instead of you owning the house. They are material things. You're supposed to be above them. They cannot rule you. You rule them. Money is a physical thing that you cannot let rule you, but you rule. Because it is that. In spiritually speaking, that's all it is. You have the dominion. You cannot let these physical things like toys, think of them as toys. You cannot let them rule you. And then you'll see, first of all, you will find peace within yourself. The kingdom of God is the peace within that you gain, which allows you to have everything. Because once you have peace, you have harmony. You know, you have your chakras, let's call them, those points of energies are all balanced. That peace within surpasses, you know, all kinds of understanding. Then you'll see that it's easy for you to own anything because they're material stuff. We make them. We, you, me, the other person next door, they make them. The cars, the motorcycles, the houses, you make them. So you mean to tell me that you cannot have them? You create them from here, from your imagination. If a man can do it, a woman can do it, you can do it, anybody can do it. So you have to start thinking about the physical realm like this. Like it's your playground. It's your playground. You go within. It doesn't matter, you know, how many times you do it, or you play it in your mind, or you build the house in your mind. You know, you walk through the rooms in your mind. Doesn't matter how many times you play that in your mind. Doesn't matter. Keep doing it until you really do see it come to pass, because it will. And I've experimented with that, so many things so far. And I'm loving this, you know. I'm so loving it. And just stay on that. Just make sure that the self-concept that you're going to adopt is one of a creator. Nothing else. I don't care. A creator. You want to call yourself an architect? Go ahead. You want to call yourself an engineer? Go ahead. Whatever you want, if you want to become the creator of that, then use that title for it, if that's what you want. Okay, you want to think of yourself as an architect because you want to have this house of your dream. You want to design it in your mind, in your head, then go ahead and do that. But I see myself as a creator, and whatever it is I want, I'm going to have. Doesn't matter how long it's been. And I wish I had known that. It would have saved me so many years. Relationships, jobs, businesses, it would have saved me so many years. And this is what I wanted to share here with you. I hope this makes sense. I think that, you know, don't listen to anybody that tells you that you're not powerful, that you have forms of government that are like separating us, that are like, there's this party, that party, this country, that, or like, we're at war, we don't see things the same way. It's all an illusion. It's an illusion that, they do a good job at it, because, they've managed to literally, 8 billion people, they're managed to control them, because they have to, because otherwise, imagine there wouldn't be no control as far as that creation, right? That's why you have only a group of people that create, and another group that, they can rule them, because they don't know they are creators. They rather belong to a creator. They rather worship a creator. And there's nothing wrong with that. But you have to understand that you are just like that creator. He made you, and he's experiencing himself through you. And, he's just having 8 billion different conceptions of himself. Just decide which one you want and embody that, and then play with it, have fun with it. It's really an interesting ride here. It's a short ride too, but it could be interesting, if you know how to play it. And don't waver when it comes to that. Don't waver. Just stay on that channel. Stay on that plane. All right. That's it. Let's continue to prosper together. God bless you.